She saved a mafia boss's dying son, and he decided she belonged to him. Little did she know, he'd been orchestrating every disaster in her life to force her into his arms. Now her daughter needs a life-saving surgery only he can afford, and his price is simple: become his wife. Like if you'd accept this dangerous deal. Subscribe for more forbidden love stories, and comment, "I'd marry the mafia boss," if you're brave enough to choose love over logic. Your engagement helps us bring you more heart-pounding stories like this one. The crystal chandeliers of Bellissimo cast amber light across white tablecloths, turning Chicago's most exclusive restaurant into a stage where power and money performed nightly. Sofia Rivera balanced 3 plates along her forearm, weaving between tables with the practiced grace of someone who'd learned to be invisible. 5 years as a paramedic had taught her to stay calm under pressure. 6 months as a waitress had taught her that rich men rarely looked servers in the eye. Until tonight. The corner booth had been reserved for 3 hours. The hostess whispered warnings. Table 12. Don't speak unless spoken to. Don't make eye contact. The man who sits there makes CEOs nervous. Sofia approached with water glasses, stealing a glance at the occupant. Nikolai Volkov sat alone except for an infant carrier beside him, his presence somehow filling the entire section. Dark hair swept back from a face that could have been carved from Siberian ice, 3-piece suit tailored to perfection, hands that looked both elegant and capable of terrible things. But it was his eyes that stopped her, steel gray and ancient, like they'd witnessed centuries of violence and had long stopped caring. "Mr. Volkov, welcome back to Bellissimo," she managed, setting down the water. Her voice didn't shake. Small victory. Those gray eyes lifted, assessing her with the cold efficiency of a predator deciding if something was prey or irrelevant. "You're new." 3 months. Sofia shifted her weight, fighting the urge to step back. The air around him felt dense, suffocating. Across the restaurant, other diners pretended not to stare. Good. He returned his attention to his phone, dismissing her with silence. Sofia retreated, pulse hammering. She'd heard stories about Nikolai Volkov, whispers in the kitchen about the Russian Bratva's iron grip on Chicago's South Side, about businesses that burned down after refusing his protection, about men who'd challenged him and simply vanished. The kind of stories that made smart people cross the street when his black Mercedes passed. She was clearing appetizer plates from table 7 when she heard it. A wet, choking sound that made her paramedic instincts scream. She spun toward the corner booth. Nikolai was on his feet, the infant in his arms, panic cracking through that icy exterior like lightning through stone. The baby, 6 months old maybe, had turned an alarming shade of purple, tiny fists clenched, eyes bulging. Sofia moved before thinking. "Give him to me." She didn't ask, didn't hesitate. She snatched the baby from Nikolai's arms, her fingers positioning with muscle memory from 100 emergency calls. 5 back blows. Nothing. The restaurant froze, all pretense of normalcy shattered. Nikolai's voice came out strangled. "Adrian!" Sofia flipped the baby, positioned her fingers, and delivered precise chest thrusts. Once. Twice. On the 3rd thrust, a piece of pureed sweet potato flew from Adrian's mouth. The baby gasped, then wailed, the most beautiful sound in the world. "He's breathing." Sofia cradled the infant, rubbing his back as his cries turned from panicked to merely angry. "You're okay, sweetheart. You're okay." She looked up. Nikolai Volkov was staring at her like she'd just walked on water. His hands trembled, actually trembled, as he reached for his son. When she passed Adrian back, their fingers touched, and something electric shot up her arm. "How did you—" His voice cracked. The dangerous mob boss who made grown men weep was on the verge of tears himself. "I was a paramedic. Before." Sofia gestured vaguely at her server's uniform, suddenly aware of every eye in the restaurant on them. "Before this." Nikolai held Adrian against his chest, his entire body still shaking. When he looked at Sophia again, something had fundamentally shifted in that cold gaze. Recognition, possession, obsession blooming in real time. "What's your name?" "Sophia. Sophia Rivera. Sophia." He said it like a prayer and a claim all at once. "You saved my son's life." Anyone with training would have... No. The word cut like a blade. Not anyone. You. He reached into his jacket. Sophia tensed, but he pulled out a business card. "I need to speak with you, after your shift." "Mr. Volkov, that's not necessary." "It is necessary." His intensity was suffocating. "Please." The please sounded like it physically hurt him to say. Sophia took the card because refusing felt more dangerous than accepting. The moment her shift ended, she found Nikolai waiting by the kitchen door, Adrian asleep in his carrier, 4 men in suits flanking him at a respectful distance. "Walk with me." It wasn't a request. They walked through Bellissimo's private parking lot, surrounded by his security detail, Adrian's carrier swinging gently from Nikolai's hand. Sophia's Toyota Camry looked embarrassingly small next to the fleet of black Mercedes SUVs. "I want to thank you properly," Nikolai said, his accent thickening with emotion. "Name anything." "Anything in my power to give. You don't owe me anything. I owe you everything." He stopped walking, turning to face her fully. "Adrian is all I have left in this world. His mother died bringing him into it. You gave me my son back." The grief in his voice was so raw it made Sophia's chest ache. But then his expression changed, softened into something that sent warning bells screaming through her mind. "Dinner, tomorrow night. Let me show you my gratitude." "Mr. Volkov, I don't think..." "Nikolai. Call me Nikolai." "Nikolai, then. I appreciate the offer, but..." "Then it's settled. I'll send a car for you at 7. "I have a daughter," Sophia blurted. "A 2-year-old. I can't just... bring her." Nikolai smiled, and it transformed his face from arctic to devastating. "Adrian would love the company, and I..." He stepped closer, into her personal space, and Sophia forgot how to breathe. "I would very much like to know the woman who gave me back my reason for living." "This is a bad idea." "The best ones usually are." His gray eyes held hers captive. 7 o'clock, Sophia Rivera. Don't make me come find you." It was a threat wrapped in silk. Before she could protest further, he pressed something into her hand, a stack of $100 bills that felt obscenely thick, and walked away, his security detail falling into formation around him like sharks around their apex predator. Sophia looked down at the money. At least $5,000. Her hands were still shaking when she got home. "Already subscribed and liked?" "Get ready. What's coming will make you cry." The roses arrived at 6 a.m. Sophia stood in her apartment doorway, staring at the explosion of red blooms that filled her small living room. Dozens of arrangements, maybe hundreds of roses total, turning her shabby one-bedroom into something from a fairy tale. Or a nightmare. The card read in sharp, precise handwriting. "For the woman who breathes life back into dead things." N. "Mommy, pretty?" Luna toddled over, reaching for a rose with chubby fingers. "Don't touch, baby." Sophia caught her daughter's hand, mind racing. This wasn't normal gratitude. This was obsession. This was dangerous. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. "The car will arrive at 7 p.m. Casual dress. Adrian and I are looking forward to meeting Luna." Sophia typed back, "I can't accept this. Please stop." The response was immediate. "Stop accepting? Then I'll simply give without your permission. See you tonight, Sophia." She wanted to throw the phone. Instead, she called her ex, Marcus, to ask if he could take Luna for the night. "You're going on a date?" Marcus sounded suspicious. "With who?" "Just someone from work." "Sophia, you know the custody agreement. Luna needs stability. If you're bringing random men around, I'm not bringing anyone around. I'm asking you to take your daughter for one evening. The argument lasted 15 minutes. Marcus finally agreed, but the criticism in his voice lingered long after she hung up. You're not stable enough, not responsible enough. Maybe Luna would be better off with me full-time. The words haunted her as she showered, as she tried on 3 different outfits, as she told herself she was being ridiculous. This was just dinner, just a thank you. She'd eat, be polite, and make it clear she wasn't interested in whatever Nikolai Volkov thought this was becoming. The black Mercedes arrived at exactly 7 p.m. Nikolai stepped out personally to open her door, and Sophia's breath caught. In dark jeans and a charcoal sweater that probably cost more than her monthly rent, he looked less like a mob boss and more like some dangerous fantasy come to life. You look beautiful, he said simply, offering his hand. I look like I'm going to dinner. Not a fashion show. Perfect then. I prefer real to performative. His smile was devastating. Adrian is excited. He kept trying to eat his stuffed bear today. I think he remembers you. Despite herself, Sophia smiled. Babies don't remember. Adrian does. Nikolai's intensity was back, that unsettling focus that made her feel like the only person in the world. He knows his savior. The penthouse restaurant was closed to other diners. Just them, Adrian in a high chair gumming a teething toy, and silent staff who appeared and disappeared like ghosts. The food was exquisite. The conversation was unexpected. Nikolai asked about Luna, about Sophia's life as a paramedic, about why she'd left a career she clearly loved for minimum wage and hostile customers. Student loans, Sophia said quietly. Medical debt from Luna's birth. Marcus and I split when she was 3 months old. Paramedic salary doesn't cover childcare and rent in Chicago. Waitressing gives me flexible hours. You sacrificed your calling for your daughter. Nikolai reached across the table, his hand covering hers. That's honor. True honor. It's called being a parent. No. His grip tightened. It's called being extraordinary. And you are, Sophia. Extraordinary. She should have pulled away. Should have remembered this man was dangerous, that people whispered his name with fear. But his touch was warm, and she'd been so cold for so long. Tell me about Adrian's mother, she heard herself say. Nikolai's face shuddered. Irina. We married young in Moscow. She wanted a different life, one where I wasn't what I am. When she got pregnant, she thought it would change me. He looked at Adrian with such grief it hurt to witness. She died 3 minutes after he was born. Hemorrhaging they couldn't stop. Her last words were asking me to be better than I am. I'm sorry. Don't be. I'm not. The coldness was back. She chose wrong. I can't be better. I can only be what I am, a man who protects what's his by any means necessary. The shift in his tone made Sophia uneasy. Nikolai, you're mine now, Sophia. From the moment you saved Adrian, you became mine to protect, mine to care for. Mine. She stood abruptly. I'm not anyone's. I came to dinner as a courtesy, but I'm not interested in whatever this is. Sit down. It wasn't loud. Didn't need to be. The command in his voice made her knees buckle. Sophia sat, hating herself for it. I frighten you. Nikolai leaned back, studying her. Good. You should be frightened. Because when I want something, I don't stop until it's mine. And I want you, Sophia Rivera. I want to know every scar, every dream, every fear. I want to take care of you and Luna. I want you to stop working jobs beneath your talent and start living the life you deserve. By being your property? By being my family. His eyes burned with something between madness and devotion. I'm offering you everything. All you have to do is say yes. To what? I don't even know what you're asking. I'm asking you to let me in. to trust that I can give you and Luna a better life, to give me a chance to be the man Irina wanted me to be. He stood, walking around the table until he was in front of her, tilting her chin up with gentle fingers. I'm asking you to be brave enough to let someone protect you for once, instead of protecting everyone else. Sophia's phone rang. Marcus. She answered with shaking hands. Sophia? It's Luna. She's running a fever. You need to come get her. Now. She was on her feet before Marcus finished the sentence. I'm sorry, I'll drive you. Nikolai was already moving, scooping up Adrian's carrier with one hand and pulling out his phone with the other. He spoke rapid Russian into it, orders being given, arrangements being made. In the car, Sophia tried to hold it together. Luna got sick sometimes. This was normal, but the fear wouldn't stop crawling up her throat. Nikolai's hand found hers in the darkness. She'll be fine, I promise. You can't promise that. You don't even know her. No, but I know you. And I know you'll move heaven and hell to keep her safe. Let me help you move it. They picked up Luna from Marcus's apartment. Her daughter was flushed and whimpering, reaching for Sophia with desperate arms. Marcus eyed Nikolai with barely concealed suspicion. Who's this? A friend. Sophia was already out the door. At the ER, Nikolai made one phone call. Suddenly, Luna was being seen by the head of pediatrics instead of waiting in triage for 3 hours. The fever broke within an hour, just a virus, nothing serious. But Sophia couldn't stop shaking. Thank you, she whispered, when they were finally back in the car, Luna asleep against her chest. Don't thank me. This is what I do for the people I care about. Nikolai drove through the dark Chicago streets, his profile carved from shadows. I take care of them. Completely. He pulled up to her apartment building, but didn't move to get out. Sophia, I need you to understand something. I'm not a good man. I've done things that would make you run screaming if you knew the details, but I would never hurt you, never hurt Luna. The world I live in, it's violent, it's cruel, but it keeps order. It protects the people under my umbrella. I don't want to live under anyone's umbrella. You already do. Marcus's, your landlords, your bosses. At least mine would be built to last. He turned to look at her. Think about my offer. That's all I ask. Just think about it. Sophia carried Luna inside, feeling Nikolai's eyes on her until she closed the door. The next morning, she woke to her bank account showing a deposit of $50,000. She called him immediately. I can't accept this. Too late. It's done. Nikolai, this is insane. That's my son's life you saved. $50,000 is cheap. Keep it. Pay off debts. Take Luna somewhere nice. Buy yourself something beautiful. I don't care how you use it, but it's yours. Sophia wanted to argue, wanted to transfer it back. But she looked at the eviction notice on her counter, 2 months behind on rent, and felt something inside her crack. Why are you doing this? Because I can, and because you deserve someone who will. He paused. Dinner again Friday. Say yes, Sophia. I'll keep asking until you do. She should have said no, should have blocked his number, should have recognized the trap closing around her. Instead, she whispered, okay. 3 weeks later, she lost her job. The manager called her into his office, wouldn't meet her eyes. I'm sorry, Sophia. I have to let you go. What? Why? My performance reviews. It's not about performance. He looked terrified. I can't have you here anymore. I'm sorry. She knew. Even before she saw the black Mercedes outside the restaurant, she knew. Nikolai had been there 3 times that week, leaving generous tips, making small talk with the owner, his presence like a storm cloud that promised lightning. The owner had chosen survival over justice. Sophia's hands shook as she packed her locker. She'd had dinner with Nikolai 5 times now, each one more intense than the last, each one making her feel more seen, more valued, more terrified of how much she was beginning to want this. She'd told him about Marcus's threats to take Luna, about the custody lawyer she couldn't afford, about lying awake at night calculating which bills she could skip this month. And now this. She drove straight to his office building. Everyone in Chicago knew where Nikolai Volkov conducted business. The security downstairs tried to stop her until Nikolai's voice came through their radios. "Send her up." She exploded into his penthouse office, not caring about the two men in suits who were clearly mid-meeting. "Out," Nikolai said quietly. The men vanished. "Did you get me fired?" Sophia's voice shook with fury. "Yes." The honesty stunned her. "Why?" "Because you were wasting your gifts serving pasta to people who don't even see you. Because I want you available. Because I'm removing obstacles from your life." He stood, moving around his desk with that predatory grace. "And because I'm done playing games, Sophia. I want you. Completely. And I'm willing to burn down every barrier between us to have you. You had no right. I have every right. You saved my son. That makes you mine to protect. Even from yourself." "Protect? You just ruined my life." "No." He was in front of her now, cupping her face with both hands. "I'm rebuilding it. Better. Stronger. Let me, Sophia. Stop fighting and let me take care of you." She wanted to slap him, wanted to run. But his thumbs were stroking her cheeks, and his eyes held such fierce devotion that her anger cracked. "I hate you," she whispered. "No, you don't. You hate that you want this. Want me." He leaned closer, his breath warm against her lips. "But you do want it. I see it every time you look at me. You're insane." "Probably." His smile was devastating. "But I'm insane about you. And I'm very patient, Sophia. I'll wait until you admit what we both know is inevitable." He kissed her forehead, a gentle gesture that somehow felt more intimate than anything else, and stepped back. "Your rent is paid for the next 6 months. Luna's daycare too. Consider it severance from Bellissimo. I'll have a better job offer for you by end of week. One that uses your actual skills." Sophia fled before she did something stupid like kiss him back. But that night, alone in her apartment with Luna asleep, she opened her email to find a job offer from Chicago Memorial Hospital. Emergency department. Full benefits. Salary that made her dizzy. The note attached was simple. "They called me for a reference. I told them the truth. You're extraordinary. The job is yours if you want it. No strings." And Sophia stared at the offer until her vision blurred. She was falling for the monster. And she didn't know how to stop. The envelope arrived with her morning coffee. Sophia recognized the heavyweight paper immediately. Nikolai's stationery, his handwriting sharp and precise across the front. Inside was a single sentence that made her blood run cold. "Marcus filed for emergency custody yesterday. He claims you're financially unstable and living a dangerous lifestyle. Call me." And her hands shook so hard she dropped her coffee mug. It shattered across the kitchen floor, but she barely noticed. She was already dialing. Nikolai answered before the first ring finished. "Where are you?" "Home. Did he really?" "I'm sending a car. Pack a bag for Luna. You're both staying with me until we resolve this." "I'm not moving in with you." "Sophia." His voice gentled. "Marcus has hired Bernard Feldman, the most ruthless custody attorney in Illinois. He's claiming you lost your job due to unprofessional conduct, that you're accepting money from unknown men, that Luna witnessed you with dangerous criminals." A pause. "He means me, and he's not entirely wrong." Sophia's legs gave out. She sank onto her couch, watching Luna play with blocks, oblivious to the axe hanging over both their heads. "I can't lose her. She's everything." "You won't. I promise you won't. But we need to be strategic." Nikolai's intensity came through the phone like a physical force. "Come to my home. Let me help. Please." The please broke her. 2 hours later, Sophia stood in the foyer of Nikolai's Lincoln Park mansion, Luna on her hip, feeling like she'd stepped into another universe. Marble floors, cathedral ceilings, original artwork that probably cost more than her childhood home. But it was the nursery that made her heart crack. Adrian's room, decorated in soft blues and grays, with every toy and safety measure imaginable. The room next to it was being converted. Pink walls half-painted, a small bed being assembled by quiet staff. "For Luna," Nikolai said from behind her. "I took the liberty. If it's too presumptuous, it's perfect." Sophia's voice broke. "It's too perfect. This isn't real, Nikolai. None of this is real. It's as real as you let it be." He moved closer, and she felt that electric pull that had been growing stronger every day. "I know this is fast. I know I'm asking you to trust someone you barely know. But I also know you're drowning, and I'm offering you solid ground. Ground with strings attached. Ground with strings visible." His honesty was brutal. "I want you, Sophia. I want Luna. I want to build something permanent with you. But I won't force it. Stay here as long as you need. No expectations beyond keeping you both safe." That night, Luna fell asleep in her new room within minutes, exhausted from exploring. Sophia found Nikolai in his study, Adrian asleep against his chest while he worked one-handed on his laptop. "He likes being close," Nikolai explained softly. "Ever since the choking incident, I can't put him down for long without him crying." Sophia sat beside them, and something in her chest settled. This moment of quiet domesticity with 2 babies and a dangerous man felt more like home than anywhere she'd been in years. "Tell me about Marcus," Nikolai said. So she did. About the college romance that turned bitter. About Marcus's controlling nature that she'd mistaken for protection. About his fury when she left. His systematic campaign to prove she was an unfit mother. His belief that Luna would be better off without her. "He uses my job against me, my schedule, my financial struggles. Everything I do to survive becomes ammunition." Sophia's voice cracked. "And the worst part is he might be right. Maybe Luna would have a better life with him. Stable home, 2-parent household, no fear about next month's rent." "Stop." Nikolai's hand covered hers. "You're an incredible mother. I've seen you with her. The way she lights up around you, the way she trusts you completely. That's not something money can buy. But money can buy good lawyers. So can I." His eyes held hers. "Sophia, I need to tell you something. Before this goes any further, you need to understand who I am and what I'm offering." He shifted Adrian to his shoulder and stood, pulling out a folder from his desk drawer. Inside were photographs, newspaper clippings, police reports, evidence of a criminal empire that stretched from Chicago to New York to Moscow. "I run the Bratva's North American operations, protection rackets, gambling, construction contracts that aren't entirely legal, political influence that operates in shadows." His voice was steady, clinical. "I've hurt people. I've destroyed businesses that threatened my organization. I've done things that would horrify you if you knew the details." Sophia's hands trembled as she looked through the folder. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because if you stay here, if you let me help you, Marcus will dig until he finds all of this. And he'll use it against you in court. I need you to decide now, with full information, whether associating with me is worth the risk." She thought about losing Luna, about custody hearings where her poverty was dissected, her choices questioned, her love deemed insufficient. About the alternative, fighting with resources she didn't have against an enemy who wanted to break her. "If I stay, will you help me keep Luna?" "I will make it impossible for Marcus to take her. I'll hire the best attorneys. I'll provide financial documentation showing stability. He hesitated. "I'll marry you, if that's what it takes. Give Luna a 2-parent home that Marcus can't argue against." Sophia's breath caught. "You would do that?" "I would do anything." The ferocity in his voice was terrifying and thrilling all at once. Anything to keep you, both of you. Before she could respond, his phone rang. He answered in rapid Russian, his expression darkening with each word. When he hung up, his jaw was tight. "There's a situation at one of my warehouses. I need to handle it personally. Will you be all right here tonight? Security is stationed outside. Staff is available if you need anything." "We'll be fine." Nikolai kissed her forehead. His new habit, that gentle gesture that undid her every time, and left with final instructions to his head of security about protecting his family. Sophia wandered through the mansion after he was gone. Luna asleep upstairs, Adrian in his nursery with a monitor she could hear. The house was beautiful but cold. A showpiece, not a home. She found herself in Nikolai's bedroom, drawn by curiosity and something darker. The space was surprisingly Spartan. A massive bed, minimal furniture, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the city. But his nightstand held photographs. Irina, beautiful, blonde, smiling in a wedding dress. The dates on the frame made Sophia's heart clench. Irina had been 23 when she died, the same age Sophia was when she had Luna. Beneath the frame was a letter, yellowed and worn from repeated reading. Sophia knew she shouldn't look, knew this was private, but she picked it up anyway. "Kolya, I'm afraid. Afraid the baby will come and you'll still be the man who doesn't come home some nights. The man with blood under his fingernails that he says is paint. The man people whisper about in grocery stores. I love you, but I'm terrified of loving you. Please be better, for us, for this child. Choose us over that life." Sophia's hands shook. Irina had died begging him to change, and here he was, making the same promises to her. She kept looking, found financial records that made her head spin. Legitimate businesses, yes, but underneath them, a web of shell corporations and offshore accounts. Found weapons in a locked drawer she managed to open. Found evidence of a life soaked in blood that he'd scrubbed clean before inviting her into it. And then she found the folder, her name on the tab. Inside, photographs of her apartment building, copies of her work schedule, documentation of her meetings with Marcus, bank statements, medical records for Luna, information about her student loans, her credit score, her parking tickets, everything about her life, collected and organized like she was a target under surveillance. Her vision blurred. This wasn't protection. This was obsession, calculation, control. Sophia was going through more documents when she found it. A memo dated 2 weeks before she lost her job. Notes about a meeting between Nikolai and the owner of Bellissimo. Discussion of removing obstacles and clearing the path. He'd planned it, all of it. The job loss, the financial crisis, her desperate vulnerability. Everything except Luna's illness. That detail at least had been real. But the rest? Engineered. Sophia sank onto his bed, the folder clutched in shaking hands. The door opened. Nikolai stood in the doorway, still in his suit, a spot of something dark on his cuff that might have been blood. "You're back early," she whispered. The situation resolved quickly. His eyes moved to the folder in her lap. His expression didn't change. "You found my insurance. Insurance. Information I gathered in case you refused my protection. Leverage to keep you safe despite yourself." He moved into the room, slow and careful, like approaching a wounded animal. "I had people watching you from the day you saved Adrian, making sure Marcus didn't hurt you, making sure your landlord didn't evict you without warning, making sure I knew every threat before it materialized. You had me followed, investigated. You." Sophia's voice broke. "You orchestrated my entire crisis, the job loss, the financial collapse. You manufactured my desperation so I'd have no choice but to come to you." Nikolai didn't deny it. Yes. The simple honesty was somehow worse than a lie would have been. "But Luna's illness," Sophia's voice cracked. "Tell me that was real." "Luna's heart condition is real. I had nothing to do with that. His jaw clenched. I would never, never harm a child. Never harm her. That's one line I will not cross. But everything else? Fair game? Sophia stood, fury giving her strength. You ruined my life so you could rebuild it as you wanted it. Yes. Nikolai moved closer. Because you were destroying yourself trying to do everything alone. Because you were wasting your gifts working for people who didn't value you. Because I saw in you what Irina saw in me. Someone worth saving. And unlike her, I actually have the power to do it. By manipulating me? By removing obstacles so you could see clearly what I was offering. His intensity was overwhelming. Sophia, everything I did so you'd have choices. Real choices, not the illusion of choice that poverty pretends to offer. Yes, I engineered the crisis, but I also gave you the solution, freely offered, with no strings except honesty. Honesty? You call this honesty? She threw the folder at him. You stalked me. I protected you. There's a difference. Nikolai caught the folder without flinching. And now you know everything. My methods, my resources, my obsession with keeping you safe. So here's your real choice, Sophia. Walk away now, and I'll make sure Marcus never touches Luna. I'll pay for lawyers, create a trust fund for her education, ensure you're both financially stable for life, and you'll never see me again. Or stay, knowing exactly who I am and what I'm capable of, knowing I'm ruthless, manipulative, and dangerous, knowing that I've orchestrated parts of your life like a puppet master, but also knowing that I'm honest about all of it, that I'll protect you and Luna with every resource at my disposal, that I'm offering you something real, even if the path to get here was twisted. He stepped closer, his gray eyes burning into hers. I won't apologize for wanting you desperately enough to clear the debris from your life. I won't pretend I'm a good man who stumbled into love. I'm a monster who found something worth being human for. The question is, are you brave enough to love a monster who's trying to be better? Sophia's phone rang. Marcus. She answered with shaking hands. Sophia? Listen. About the custody thing. I'm withdrawing it. All of it. Her heart stopped. What? I received some information today. Very detailed information about my financial irregularities, tax issues I didn't know anyone knew about, and a suggestion that perhaps Luna is better off with her mother after all, given my recent professional troubles. Marcus's voice was tight with fear. Did you hire someone to dig into me? Sophia looked at Nikolai. He held her gaze steadily, unrepentant. Luna stays with me, Sophia said quietly. Yes. Luna stays with you, and I'll sign any custody revision you want. Just tell whoever did this that we're done. We're done fighting. Marcus hung up. Sophia lowered the phone, her entire body shaking. You did that? Tonight? I did what needed doing. Marcus threatened my family. I neutralized the threat. Nikolai tilted his head. Are you angry? She should be horrified. But all she felt was overwhelming relief that Luna was safe. I don't know what I am, she whispered. Grateful, furious, terrified. All of it. That's honest. Nikolai reached for her, and this time she didn't pull away. So be honest about one more thing. Do you feel anything for me? Beyond gratitude? Beyond fear? Anything real? Sophia thought about the past 3 weeks. About dinners where he actually listened. About the way he held Adrian with such fierce tenderness. About how he'd made her feel seen and valued for the first time in years. About moments where she'd forgotten he was a criminal and just seen a man trying to be better than his worst self. Yes, she admitted. I feel something, and I hate myself for it. Don't. His hand cupped her cheek. Don't hate yourself for seeing past the monster to the man. That's courage, not weakness. He kissed her then. Slow, deep, devastating. a kiss that tasted like danger and promise, and the beginning of something that would either destroy them both or remake them into something new. When they broke apart, Sophia was breathless and terrified and more alive than she'd felt in years. "I'll stay," she whispered against his mouth. "I'll stay, and God help me. I'll see where this goes. But Nikolai, if you ever lie to me again, if you manipulate me without telling me after, I'm gone. Understood?" "Understood." His smile was fierce and possessive. "Welcome home, Sophia. Now let me show you how I take care of what's mine." Outside, Chicago glittered with city lights, oblivious to the dangerous bargain being struck in a mansion where a monster and a savior were learning to love each other despite everything that said they shouldn't. Luna was safe. Adrian was sleeping peacefully. And Sophia was falling for a man who'd orchestrated her crisis just to be her solution. It was twisted. It was wrong. It was everything she'd promised herself she'd never accept. But as Nikolai pulled her closer, as his lips found hers again, as she finally let herself fall into the protection he'd been offering from the beginning, she realized that maybe, just maybe, love didn't have to be pure to be real. Behind them, forgotten in the chaos, a phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. "Interesting choice, Ms. Rivera. Let's see how long you survive in Volkov's world." Sophia never saw it. But Nikolai did. And in that moment, he made a silent promise. Anyone who threatened his family would learn exactly what the monster was capable of when something he loved was at stake. 3 weeks of living in Nikolai's mansion felt like inhabiting a dream. Luna thrived, running through halls with Adrian, sleeping peacefully without fear. Sophia had returned to Chicago Memorial, surrounded by colleagues who respected her expertise. And Nikolai was everywhere. Breakfast with the children, late nights when he'd come to her room for conversation, telling her stories about Moscow, about the brother he'd lost, about realizing fear was more valuable than love in his world. But the fairy tale shattered on a Tuesday morning when Luna's pediatric cardiologist called. "Ms. Rivera, we need to discuss Luna's test results immediately. Can you come in today?" Sophia's blood turned to ice. "What's wrong?" "It's better if we discuss this in person. Please, bring Luna." She called Nikolai. He left his meeting with the Bratva Leadership Council immediately. "Dr. Chen's words hit like bullets. "Luna has tetralogy of Fallot, a congenital heart defect. Without surgical intervention, children typically don't survive past their 5th birthday." The room tilted. Nikolai's hand gripped Sophia's so tightly it hurt. "What kind of surgery?" His voice was controlled, but she felt the tremor. "Open heart surgery. Complex, high risk, but with the right surgeon, success rate is around 85%. However, Luna needs one of the top 3 pediatric cardiac surgeons. Dr. Harrison at Boston Children's is the best, but his wait list is 12 to 18 months. "Luna doesn't have 18 months, Sophia whispered. "No. We need to get her in within 2 months, ideally sooner." Dr. Chen's expression was sympathetic. "The cost with Dr. Harrison runs between $750,000 and $900,000. The number was absurd. Sophia made $65,000 a year. "How long does she have?" Sophia's voice broke. 6 months before serious deterioration. Surgery needs to happen within 3 months to minimize risks. Later, after Luna was asleep, Nikolai came to Sophia with papers. "I made calls. Dr. Harrison can see Luna next week. Surgery is scheduled for 3 weeks from now." "How did you—" "I know people. But Sophia, there's something we need to discuss." For the first time, he looked uncertain. "The Bratva leadership is questioning my relationship with you. They see you as weakness. There's a man, Viktor Kozlov, Irina's father. He blames me for her death. He's been building alliances, waiting to challenge my position." "What does that have to do with Luna?" "Everything. Victor has connections at Boston Children's. He knows about Luna. He's making moves to block her surgery unless I step down. Sophia felt sick. So Luna can't get surgery because of Mafia politics? No, there's a way to protect you both. Nikolai dropped to one knee, pulling out a ring. Marry me, Sophia. This week. As my wife, you become untouchable. Luna becomes my legal daughter. Victor can't threaten you without declaring war on my bloodline. You're proposing marriage as strategy? I'm proposing because I love you. Desperately. These 3 weeks showed me what life could be. I want to be Luna's father, Adrian's, to build a real family. His eyes burned. I know the timing is insane, but I promise, I will save your daughter. I will protect you both, and I will spend my life trying to be worthy of you. Sophia looked at the ring, at this dangerous man kneeling before her. If I say yes, does Luna get the surgery no matter what? Already guaranteed. But as my fiancé, Victor loses all leverage. And if I say no, pain flashed across his face. Then I still save Luna. But you and I are done. I can't keep making you a target. The ultimatum was clear, and despite everything, Sophia realized she didn't want to lose him. Yes, she breathed. I'll marry you. Nikolai's relief was palpable. He kissed her desperately. Thank you. We marry Friday. Dr. Harrison operates next week. Luna will survive, Sophia. I swear it. But as he held her, neither noticed the listening device in the crown molding. Neither saw the man photographing them through the window. Viktor Kozlov was patient and ruthless, and he'd just been handed ammunition. The next morning, Nikolai showed Sophia a news article. Russian crime leader Nikolai Volkov to marry American woman. Critics call it green card scheme. Below, photographs of their private moments made public. Victor is trying to force my hand, Nikolai said. It won't work. Wedding is still Friday. But Thursday morning, Sophia was at the hospital when security approached. Ms. Rivera, there's been an incident at Mr. Volkov's residence. The drive back was a blur. Police cars filled the driveway. Nikolai stood covered in blood that wasn't his, Adrian crying in his arms, pure rage on his face. Where's Luna? Sophia screamed. Safe. Upstairs. But there was an attack. Victor sent men claiming to be child services. My security stopped them, but 2 of my men are critical. If Luna had been downstairs, they would have taken her. Sophia's legs gave out. Nikolai caught her. They declared war. Victor wants you and Luna dead to teach me the cost of choosing love over loyalty. So I'm ending this tonight. Ending what? Victor. His faction. Anyone who threatens my family. The monster was back in his eyes. You're being moved to a secure location. I'll come for you when it's done. Nikolai, no. This isn't debate. His kiss was fierce. Trust me one more time. He left in a convoy and Sophia didn't sleep. She held both children, listening to police scanners reporting fires, ambulances, a warehouse explosion that lit up the night sky. The city whispered his name with fear, and Sophia waited, praying the monster would return as the man she loved. The safe house was a Gold Coast penthouse with views of Lake Michigan and military-grade security. Nikolai's mother, Ekaterina, arrived within the hour, steel-haired and sharp-eyed. So, you're the one who tamed my son, she said in accented English. I didn't tame anyone. I just saved his son's life. Yes. Nikolai told me everything. About Irina's letter, about his promises he broke, about you being different. He loves you, truly. I haven't seen him love anything except Adrian since Irina died. Does that scare you? Terrifies me, because love makes men like my son do dangerous things. And what he's doing tonight, confronting Victor directly, that's the most dangerous thing of all. Sophia's phone buzzed. Unknown number. Ms. Rivera. The voice was male, older, Russian. My name is Viktor Kozlov. I believe we have much to discuss. I have nothing to say to you. Oh, I think you do. I know about Luna's surgery. One word from me and that surgery gets postponed. Indefinitely. You wouldn't. She's a child. She's leverage. Come meet me, alone, right now, and I'll ensure Luna gets her surgery. Where? Sophia asked, ignoring Ekaterina's protests. Victor gave an address in Russian village. 1 hour, alone. If I see Nikolai's men, the deal is off. The restaurant called Matryoshka was empty except for Victor at a corner table, flanked by 2 mountains in suits. Sit. I ordered tea. Victor was older than expected. Late 60s, gray beard, ice chip eyes. You wanted to talk. Talk. Let me tell you about my daughter. Irina was brilliant, beautiful, kind. She fell in love with Nikolai at 19. I forbade the marriage. She married him anyway. I know this story. Do you know when she got pregnant she begged him to leave Russia? To start over in America? He promised 3 times. Broke it 3 times. Victor's voice cracked. She died believing the man she loved valued power more than her life. She bled out crying for a husband who was in a meeting about territory. He arrived 30 minutes after her heart stopped. I'm sorry, but that doesn't give you the right to threaten my daughter. It gives me the right to ensure history doesn't repeat. Victor leaned forward. Nikolai promises to change, to be better, to choose family. But he never does. Eventually, you'll be crying on a hospital bed while he chooses power over love. He's not the same man. Isn't he? Victor pulled out photos from last night. Nikolai covered in blood, standing over bodies. Your fiancé personally executed 4 of my associates. Burned down businesses. That's the man you're marrying. Sophia felt sick, but held steady. He was protecting his family. By choosing violence, he could have negotiated, but instead defaulted to fear and destruction. Victor's smile was cruel. When Luna needs him during surgery, where will he be? Managing some crisis. What do you want? Leave him. Take Luna. Take whatever money he's given you, and disappear. Victor slid a briefcase across the table. $2 million. Enough for Luna's surgery, her future, yours. Walk away tonight. And if I refuse? Then I ensure Luna's surgery gets postponed until it's too late. I ruin you professionally. I ensure you lose custody to Marcus, who I've already contacted with compelling evidence of your poor judgment. Sophia's phone buzzed. Nikolai, where are you? She looked at Victor, at the money, at the photos. She thought about Luna's face, Adrian's laugh, 3 weeks of happiness. You want me to believe Nikolai is a monster? Fine, he is. He's ruthless and violent and dangerous. Sophia stood. But he's also the man who holds his son every night terrified of losing him, who learned to braid Luna's hair, who reads Irina's letter before bed because he's haunted by failing her. He's a monster trying to be human. That's more real than any money you're offering. You're making a mistake. Probably, but it's my mistake. Sophia pulled out her phone. And you made one too. You assumed I came alone. She hit dial. Matryoshka restaurant. Victor's here. He tried to buy me off. It didn't work. 30 seconds later, windows shattered as black SUVs surrounded the building. Nikolai burst through with armed men, gun drawn. Behind him, an FBI agent, badge displayed, recording device in hand. Victor Kozlov, you're under arrest for extortion, racketeering, conspiracy to commit murder. Everything you said tonight was recorded. You set me up. Victor stared at Sophia. No, you set yourself up. I called Nikolai before entering. He brought the FBI. Sophia moved to Nikolai's side as agents cuffed Victor. The moment you threatened Luna, you gave him evidence of your crimes from your own mouth. The Bratva doesn't forgive. You signed both your death warrants. No. Nikolai's voice was ice. You signed yours. The council meets tomorrow. They'll vote your removal based on tonight's recording. You threatened a child, the one line even criminals won't cross. You're done, Victor. When Victor was gone, when FBI finished questions, Sophia started shaking in the SUV. The adrenaline crash hit hard. Nikolai pulled her close, trembling himself. You were magnificent. Terrifying. Don't ever do that again. The FBI agent. You arranged that? I've been working with them 6 months, turning state's evidence against Victor in exchange for immunity. Tonight was the final piece. Nikolai's smile was bitter. I'm leaving the Bratva, Sophia. Officially. Tomorrow the council votes Victor out, and I announce retirement. Everything else gets absorbed by remaining leadership. You're actually doing it. Choosing us over power. I chose you the night you saved Adrian. Everything since has just been making that choice real. He kissed her softly. We marry tomorrow as planned. Luna gets surgery next week, and we build a life where our children don't grow up in shadows. Victor said the Bratva doesn't forgive. Victor is one man. The council will be grateful I removed a problem they feared. And anyone stupid enough to come after us will learn leaving the Bratva doesn't make me less dangerous, just more focused. Sophia wanted to believe him, but as they drove through dark Chicago streets, she couldn't shake the feeling their happiness was balanced on a knife's edge. The wedding took place in Nikolai's library, surrounded by books and morning light. No guests except Ekaterina, Adrian in a tiny suit, Luna in white asking why Mommy was crying. When Nikolai slid the ring on, his hands shook. With this ring, I take you as my wife, my partner, for better or worse. Thank you for seeing past the monster to the man trying to be worthy. With this ring, I choose you. The whole complicated, dangerous, beautiful mess of you. I choose us. Their kiss was soft, reverent, full of promises they'd fight to keep. At the Bratva council meeting, Nikolai stood before assembled leadership. I'm stepping down, effective immediately. Victor is arrested, his faction dismantled. My territory is being redistributed. I'm leaving to focus on family. Mikhail Petrov spoke. You understand there's no coming back. I understand. I also understand Victor's arrest happened because I cooperated with federal authorities. That information stays buried as long as my family stays safe. But if anything happens to them, evidence will be released that brings down half this council. Nikolai's smile was cold. Call it insurance. The vote was unanimous. Nikolai Volkov was officially separated from the Bratva. But peace was short-lived. 4 days before Luna's surgery, Marcus appeared with police and an emergency custody petition, claiming Sophia's marriage to organized crime made her unfit. The judge denied it. Mr. Rivera, Luna stays with her mother. Using a child's health emergency for custody manipulation won't fly in my courtroom. Luna's surgery day arrived with cruel clarity. At 5 a.m. they drove to Boston Children's, Luna confused about why she couldn't eat breakfast. Dr. Harrison explained the 8-hour procedure. She's strong. We're going to help her heart fight smarter. Mommy, I don't want to sleep, Luna whispered as anesthesia took effect. I'll be right there when you wake. I love you so much. The waiting room became hell. Hour 4. Complications. Hour 6. Critical moment. Oxygen dropped. Hour 9. Dr. Harrison emerged, exhausted but smiling. She made it. Surgery was successful. More extensive repair than planned, but Luna's heart is functioning properly. She's going to be okay. Sophia collapsed into Nikolai's arms, sobbing relief and exhaustion. Luna was alive. 2 hours later, they saw her, small in the ICU bed, tubes everywhere, but breathing. Hey, sweetheart, Sophia whispered. You did so good. Luna's eyes cracked open. Mommy? Daddy too? Nikolai froze at the doorway, then moved to the bedside, crying silently. Yeah, baby. Daddy too. You scared us. Outside the ICU, Nikolai completely broke down. Sophia held him while 3 decades of grief surfaced. I couldn't save Irina, but we saved Luna. She called me Daddy. You are her daddy. You've been her father since we moved in. 2 weeks later, Luna was released with clean health. But 3 days after arriving home, Sophia received a letter. No return address. Inside, a photograph of Nikolai leaving the council meeting. Below, he can leave the organization, but the organization doesn't leave him. Enjoy your borrowed time. This is Dmitri, Victor's nephew. Nikolai's face darkened. He's positioning for leadership from Moscow. Or we disappear, really disappear. New names, new country. You'd do that? For our family? Yes. They planned for 2 months. New identities, a house in New Zealand, money transferred to untraceable accounts. 2 months they didn't have. The attack came at the park. 3 men in suits approached while Sophia watched Luna and Adrian. They looked normal until they pulled guns. Mrs. Volkov, you're coming with us. Security reacted, but one grabbed Luna. Everyone froze, afraid to shoot with a child in crossfire. Let her go, Sophia screamed. Car, now, or the kid gets hurt. A voice stopped everyone. Put down the weapon. Federal agents. FBI agent Morrison emerged with a dozen agents, guns drawn. Dmitry Kozlov sent you, didn't he? We've been monitoring his communications. You're under arrest for attempted kidnapping. The attackers surrendered. Luna ran to Sophia, crying but unharmed. Later, Morrison explained. We've been using your family as bait to catch Dmitry making a move. Tonight gives us grounds to request extradition. You used my children as bait? Sophia's voice was deadly. Agents were positioned. They were never in real danger. This ends now, Sophia told Nikolai. Whatever deals, whatever debts, this ends today. Nikolai looked at Morrison. What do you need to make the Bratva forget we exist? Full cooperation. Everything you know about international operations, money laundering, political connections. Morrison leaned forward. Do that, and we'll put your family in witness protection. New identities, permanent severance. And the children lose their names too? Everyone starts fresh. It's that, or looking over your shoulder forever. We do it, Sophia decided. Our children deserve better than living in fear. 3 months later, James and Emma Matthews stood in their New Zealand home overlooking the beach, watching their children play. Lucy, formerly Luna, ran with healthy energy. Alex, formerly Adrian, toddled after her, laughing. Do you miss it? Emma asked. The power, the life you had? James, formerly Nikolai, pulled her close. Not even a little. Everything I need is right here. Think they'll find us? The FBI did good work. The Bratva thinks Nikolai Volkov died in a car accident. DNA evidence, closed casket. As far as they're concerned, we're ghosts. Emma relaxed into his arms, watching sunset paint their new world gold. They'd survived. Through blood and fear and impossible choices, they'd built something real. I love you, she whispered. James Matthews, Nikolai Volkov, whatever name you wear. I love you too, the woman who saved my son and taught me what matters. He kissed her temple. Thank you for believing in the man underneath the monster. That night, James burned the last remnants of his old life. The ashes scattered into New Zealand wind, carrying away a past that no longer had power over their future. In Chicago, the Bratva operated without him. Victor died in prison 6 months later, officially a heart attack. Marcus signed over full custody before they vanished. And on a beach halfway around the world, a family that shouldn't have survived learned to be happy. Not perfectly, not without scars, but authentically. 5 years later, on their anniversary, Emma found James staring at the ocean at dawn. Regrets? She asked. Just one. That it took almost losing everything to realize what I should have chosen from the beginning. But then you wouldn't have Adrian, wouldn't have found me, wouldn't have this life. Maybe we get the love we're ready for. I wasn't ready for Irina, but I was ready for you. Behind them, Lucy called that Alex stole her breakfast. Parenting chaos erupted. The ordinary miracle of family life continued. And somewhere buried under ash and new names and ocean waves, the monster Nikolai Volkov had been finally, truly died. The man who remained was simply James, husband, father, survivor. That, Emma thought diving into breakfast negotiations, was the happiest ending their story could hope for. No fairy tale, no perfect resolution. Just two people who'd chosen love over everything else, and the family they'd built from ruins. It was messy. It was real. It was enough. And in the end, enough was everything they'd ever needed.